Hi, I'm Matt with Woodland Scenics. Out of the 4 seasons of the year, winter is probably my favorite, especially after a fresh snowfall. I really like the look of all the textures and the great colors and temperatures, and as a modeler, I really enjoy trying to emulate that onto a layout. Now that may seem like a daunting task for you, but with some of the products and tips and techniques that I'm about to share with you today, it's going to be a very easy task. Now before we move forward with any type of snow or ice technique, definitely take the time to get your layout all planned out. Understand where all your water features are going to go, where you're going to put rocks and hills on your layout, and go ahead and model those into your layout. Once we have that all figured out, again, go ahead and take the time to paint all your rocks up. Use the leopard spotting technique we've talked about in prior videos. It's a great way to get a natural looking rock. And then once you have that all established, go ahead and cover the entire layout with Woodland Scenics Earth Undercoat. The reason I do that is if I have a thin area in the snow, or if I want to leave some areas completely exposed, you already have that earth tone already in place. Now if you choose to have a water feature on your layout, one thing I like to do is run a bead of glue around the entire outside edge of that water feature. The reason I like to do that is it helps contain that realistic water so it doesn't spill out onto the layout itself. Alright, now that we have our basic layout ready to go, we're ready for these great tips and techniques on how to apply your snow and ice. Now unfortunately, it's not as easy as just sprinkling snow over your entire layout until it all builds up. That's one way to do it, but to build a realistic, extremely believable layout, we're going to use some of our Woodland Scenics products to help you get that job done. Now on the water and ice side of it, we're going to be using the realistic water and water effects. Now the water effects is going to have a lot thicker consistency to it, and that's what we're going to be using for all your icicles and any type of ice feature that you want hanging from possibly a tree or a fence or whatnot. It's perfect for that. Now on the snow side of it, we're going to be using the soft flake snow. And then below that, we're going to be using the flex paste. Now the flex paste itself is going to be the majority of our snow. You can build the drifts with it. Any type of snow feature that you want a little bit of control of, you're going to use the flex paste. This flex paste is actually a multifunctional product. Here at Woodland, we use it for all kinds of different stuff, but I really like it to use for snow. It's very easy to work with, and it's very flexible and durable. Now on top of that as well, again, we're going to be using the soft flake snow, and that's going to give it the realistic look of a fresh snowfall on top of that flex paste. Now to get started, we're actually going to be using the flex paste. We're going to be covering the entire layout, or wherever you want snow, we're going to be using flex paste in that area. Now you're simply going to apply that with a foam brush. Use as many layers as you possibly need. Leave some open areas on your layout. That's going to give it another layer of realism as you build up your layout. Now that your layout has a complete base coat of flex paste on it, it's time to get into adding detail. We're going to do that by adding a lot of drift into your layout and some snow accumulation. To add drift, and just simply take a large amount of flex paste on any type of brush, roll it off wherever you'd like to have a drift. This is going to add quite a bit of detail and depth to your snow. Let one layer dry, come back and add another layer, and build this up as you would see in nature after a heavy snowfall. Same goes for accumulation. Just use a lot of flex paste in areas on rock faces or rocks that are maybe in a river or any type of automobile or home on your layout. Build that snow up, but be consistent about it as it would be in nature. This is going to be one of those detail areas that's going to give a lot of realism to your layout. Now one more final tip for using flex paste would be to use it on your trees. Just simply think in your mind how snow would fall on the trees. Start on the top with a foam brush or a paintbrush and dabble the flex paste as you work your way down the tree. Definitely focus on the concentrations of the areas where the limbs meet the trunk of the tree. Now wherever that brush kind of hits as you work your way down, leave a little bit of flex paste. Another tip for all the flex paste used, you're not painting it on, you're applying it to your layout. This will give you a cleaner look and not have all the brush strokes from your brush on your layout. At this point, we're going to go ahead and turn our focus to the water features on our layout. Now this has to be my favorite part of building any layout at all. I really like working with the realistic water. It's very easy to use and it adds a lot of realism to the layout. Now simply treat this water area like you would any other water area by painting the bottom of it, getting all your rocks and gravel in place, and then we'll move forward from there. Now I treated mine with the bottom with a realistic water undercoat. It's a darker, cooler pigment. It's going to react really well to realistic water, and it's going to give it a lot of deep and a darker, cooler color. So if you see through the ice, you're going to see a lot of realism below that ice, and that's what we want. Go ahead and pour a clear coat of realistic water on top of your layout and let that cure 24 hours before we move forward to the ice. Now our first layer of realistic water has completely dried, and now we're ready for our second layer, which is going to be the ice. This part is extremely fun. It's going to add a great detail to our layout, and the look I'm looking for is a very transparent ice. I want to be able to see through my ice and see all the great detail below that ice in the river and in the pond. Now how do we do that? We're going to add a little bit of Woodland Scenics white pigment to our realistic water. The less I stir it and the less pigment I add to that realistic water, the more transparent your ice is going to look. Now pour that mixture directly into your second layer of realistic water. This is kind of a fun part because you can actually stir that around and move that layer of ice around to where you want it. Definitely try to keep some transparency to the ice. You want to be able to see those great features that you worked hard on underneath that ice. Now once that has all completely cured and you're happy with it, you can then go back over the top of that with simple Woodland Scenics white pigment mixed with regular tap water and really dilute that down. Go back over all your edges or any area, especially where there's moving water, and add some more ice to it. Once that puddle basically dries up, you're going to find that it's going to leave a nice crisp edge that's going to give a great resemblance to frozen ice. Our winter scene is really starting to take shape and it's really taking on that wintry feel, but now I want to get into some details. I want to add some icicles to it. We're going to be using the Woodland Scenics water effects to make our icicles, and it's a very simple process. Simply by using a piece of wax paper, I can squirt my water effects right out of the bottle, starting with a wider bead and working my way down to a finer bead and letting those icicles completely cure right on that wax paper. Once they're 100% translucent, I can actually take those right off the wax paper and apply them wherever I feel like an icicle needs to be on my layout. Simply use a small brush, or what I like to use is a straight pin, and I apply a little bit of the water effects to the area where the icicle is going to hang. Now a small tip would be also to apply water effects to the end of the icicle and hang that icicle with the round side out. Smaller icicles on any structure or tree or fence row, you can use that same gray water effects in a small brush and simply stipple that, pulling downwards until you get the look you're looking for. This extra attention to detail is going to have fantastic results. Now we're ready for our final step on completing our winter scene, and that's to apply the soft flake snow. Now we've already established where most of our snow areas are going to be by using the flex paste. By adding the soft flake snow, now we're going to create a lot of texture and a lot of accumulation with the snow. Now it's a very easy process. You just want to sprinkle it in a very natural way and allow that snow to fall off things and accumulate as it would in nature. To start the process, use a mixture of scenic cement and water and spray down those areas where you're going to be applying the soft flake snow. Now when spraying your scenic cement, be careful not to get any on the areas where you do not want snow. To achieve great results with your soft flake snow, I like to backfill all my drift areas that I created with the flex paste. From there, spray a mist of scenic cement over your new snow area, followed by an additional layer of soft flake snow. To create the look of wet snow or a deep accumulation buildup, allow that soft flake snow to accumulate as it would in nature. Once you have the look you're looking for, lock that in by spraying it down with scenic cement, followed by an additional light dusting of soft flake snow. By applying these tips and techniques along with some of our Woodland Scenics products and a little bit of imagination, you should be able to build any winter scene with great detail and realism. I'm Matt with Woodland Scenics, and we'll see you next time.